Nova Scotia Black Indian Stories, back with another episode. Today's episode is inspired by me stepping into my authentic self and my greatness. I'm coming to you today, no wig, natural hair, and God, it feels good. It feels real good. For those of you out there that have been struggling with hair loss, and I know that there's a lot of us sisters out there that is a battle that we have been in. This video is going to be for you because it's the beginning of a start of a conversation, and it's the beginning of me sharing my journey of my hair loss. And I bring it to you today because I know that it will connect with the collective. I looked at who has subscribed to my channel, and the bulk are people of my age. So, which means we've lived some life. We've experienced some experiences. Some of them good, some of them, you know what, not so good. All there for our higher learning, nonetheless. And I am of the belief system that I don't think that there's not been not one bad experience that has not been brought to me from my higher learning, and that if I choose to take the route of love, healing, that it becomes a part of my powerful story. That journey of hair loss is one of those stories that became a very powerful story, which fueled me in my life to change this whole motherfucking narrative about hair. Wasn't really sure where I was going with this because I had so many thoughts that were going on inside my head. And it's not like I just woke up wanting to share this story. It has been something that spirit has been nudging me to do. But as you know, along your healing journey, when you are wretched, the words will come out, which means when you have healed or you have enough healing underneath you and you have had time to make sense of what's happened, then you can share your story, some of your pain, and perhaps help someone else struggling with the same thing. If I need a confirmation this morning about doing this, it was I went to my door and I went outside just to check the temperature. And that was my back door. And there is a tree which is adjacent to my left of my of when I go at the door, cross my driveway, a tree. A tree. My whole point. The bird that flew to the tree first was a robin. My mother has always showed up as a robin. So I start talking, Mama, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Because that's the thing that me and my sister do. We recognize that that's how she be showing up to all of us. Not only was there a robin there, but there was a cardinal, which is something that has not come to me here. My cardinal would come in Windsor all the time. So I thank you. And I'm not sure which ancestor it was that showed up in regards to the cardinal. But thank you for the confirmation. Going back to hair loss, I started losing my hair, or yeah, losing my hair. My hair started thinning between 20 uh 6 to 15, and maybe it was even sooner than that. It was before that I started to experience hair loss, and it wasn't that it was as bad as it got to be like right now. It was, as a woman start when that starts to happen to a woman, it psychologically starts to mess you up. It's like, because so much of who we are as women is in our hair. And at the time, I was in a relationship, and I want to give a shout out to that brother because he will know who he is. I won't put his name there, but real deal. In my sharing with him, you know what, my pain is going through this process, and because at that time, when it starts to thin in certain area, you can maneuver and comb over, and nobody else notices but you. That's the stage I was in, and I am pouring out my heart to him, and he said, "Look, baby, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful just the way you are, but you know what? If you want to, you can put on a wig." And at that time, I was like, I ain't wearing no wigs, and I ain't putting in no weaves. Since then, obviously, you can see I ended up with a wig. I did do the weave. And I can remember in the doing of the weave, the last weave I ever had put into my head, and this is another thing, I just don't let any motherfucker touch my hair, because not everybody has the proper energy, nor do they have the good intentions, and they don't always mean you well. The last motherfucker that put a weave in my hair put it in so tight. Who? Blood circulation was lost. I had to cut the weave out, and when I did, I was left with massive swelling from where it had swelled up. All the hair in that area uh, fell out. It just and it was I was left with scar tissue because of the swelling. It had swelled so much that it broke apart. Now you're saying, "Well, Jesus, didn't you feel that?" I did. I'm thinking, you know what? But you know how we say it'll loosen up. It'll loosen up. Maybe it's just a tight braid. It'll loosen up, to the point of finally where I had to take it out. But by the time I had taken it out, the damage was done. Never, ever, ever again. My whole point to it, it didn't just start with that weave. It started when, you know what, I started putting relaxers in my hair, as we often do as black women. And I hope that, you know what, most of us are turning on to not doing that. We are not putting poison on top of our head. Because I ain't putting anything that's going to screw up my crown chakra. The assault that has been done on us as black women in particular, because I'm not negating the fact that white women don't experience hair loss. I'm not negating the fact that, you know what, white women are they don't go through that emotional thing, because I get it. I do. I'm specifically speaking to the black woman today for a reason, because our hair has been weaponized against us all of our lives. Good hair, bad hair, um, nappy knots, all the things that, you know what, that has been said to us, and that we will say to ourselves, and we have said to others. I no longer say any of those things anymore. My whole point being is, my sister, for the one that is out there that is in struggle right now, I feel you. I feel you. It is time for that conversation, because when you are going through that, it is You can do the cosmetic covering up, whether it's the wig or the wig, and 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 I've always been, well, not always, but in my earlier life I was a huge braid wearer, like extension braids throughout a good journey of my life. I was cool with that because you know what, you still had the hair hitting the scalp and all of that. However, it had gotten to a point of where, I had stopped wearing my own hair. And within that process, here's what happens. You that relationship, which is should be very personal one, and one that is it's connected because your hair is an extension of you. You start to lose that relationship with your hair. Subsequently, I have been rebuilding that relationship. I have been looking at my hair and speaking uh, beautiful things into it. And first, it all started with I had to look in the mirror. I had to be able to look in the mirror at my natural state of exactly where I was at, and not allow all those negative uh, thoughts that not only did I have because I didn't like what I was seeing, but that was perhaps reflected from others, and some of the people being very close and up personal to me. So as I was going through that journey, it was a very lonely journey because not everyone understood. Why is she wearing her hair like that? It was me coming back into my authentic self. And I'm not going to say that I will not wear wigs again, because I will. I will continue to wear wigs because you know what? Maybe I want to wear this one because I'm feeling this today and I'm feeling that. That very much goes along with my personality just as much as this natural does today. So you're going to be seeing me more in my natural because you know what? That is my authentic. But you know what? When I come to you in the wig too, it's authentic. When I come to you in my head wrap, that's authentic. That's another thing. I have always, and I think that was via spirit, just because my inner knowing, I guess, always knew certain things. And so I was always a hat wearer, and I know now why. I was probably protecting my crown chakra. That inner knowing in myself that I didn't know then, always, I was always a head wrap. I would wear head wraps, whether it was in the braids and wrap it around, but always doing something, I guess, to cover up my crown chakra. Because who, when you know, we understand what can happen when that is wide open and you're filled, or you're in a room or in an area filled with a lot of energies, and not all of that energy is of the light. And some, I was going to call them something, but I'm not going to do that. Some individuals who are vibrating on a very low level can look at that as an opportunity to do some nasty stuff if you are unaware. So, most of the time, when in certain spots and environments, I always make sure that my head is covered up, whether it is in a wig, or whether it's in a hat, or whether it's in a head wrap. For those of us that know, we know the head wrap, I definitely know, comes from my people. That's from the long line of women that understood the head wrapping, and even the colors, the different type of colors, and that all of that is something that comes from generations and generations of women of my bloodline. I just want you to know I'm representing for you today, and I'm really representing for my mother today, who throughout most of my life wore a wig and suffered from great hair loss. And I can look back and I can see where, you know what, my mom carried her own pains with that. But her, like me, When she stepped out, Joyce couldn't give two sweet fucks, just like me. Didn't mean that she wasn't dealing with the struggle. The struggle. So she, like me, became known as woman that wore a wig. So, not quite sure where else this is going, other than the fact that I know that it is time that we have a conversation, because I love it when I look out there and I see a lot of us sisters going back to our natural and embracing our authentic selves. And I can see also that where there's some of us that, you know what, are still covering up our pain. That's why I'm delivering this message. I hope that when you see this, I want you to know that you are not alone, that you carry a story that is so similar to many other people. Yet when you're experiencing it, it's a very, very personal one. Here's my words for you today. I see you. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. There is a better day coming when you step out and you step into yourself and you take that look in the mirror and you take that wig off. Because that's another thing. You know what? I've been in relationships where I can tell you something right now. He never saw my real hair. Well, yeah, he saw it, but he never saw it. No, he never saw my real hair. Never saw my real hair. That's troubling. That became troubling to me. And I know some of you brothers out there right now, you're saying, yes, oh my God, I know. And they play it off and they go on, but even they don't understand. So I believe that this is a much needed conversation. It is one that it's the beginning of a conversation. And trust me, my first podcast is going to be about that. So be looking for it, because I'm going to be looking for you. Drop in the comments with me. In the comments, say, I can relate. That's all you got to say. If you feel like you want to share more of a story and you know that your story can be a part of a healing for somebody else, because I don't know where you're at in your journey. And, you know, you may not be at that stage of where you're ready to just to embrace it like that, because it is a journey of healing. Just like, you know what, you'd have to heal your arm if it was broken, heal your heart if it was broken. And I believe that the hair and the heart is so much connected that, you know what, all that pulling out and all that stuff that spirit was doing with me and getting me ready for my next level, this is just a part of it. But it's a big part of it. As I said, my hair, my head, my crown. And I'm going to tell you, this goddess, mm-mm, mm-mm, she ain't covering up nothing unless she wants to. She's embracing everything, and I'm encouraging you to do the same. That's a movement in itself that's already in flow and going. Brings me to another point. We need a good hairdresser that knows how to deal with ethnic hair. When you live in good old Royal Nova Scotia, that's a problem. You don't have the proper hair products. You don't have I'm telling you, so unrepresented. So there's a whole arena out here. And yes, I know that there's sisters in that got their thing going on out there online. First of all, let's make it affordable. Let's make it affordable. Not to say that not all of you out there that got your thing going on, but I believe that there's a need for that. Because Jesus Christ, do not rape your brother or your sister financially. That ain't cool either. And when you're talking about making it accessible for everybody, because that's what your heart's into, because you're either into it for profit, not to say that profit's bad. Profit is good. But profit led with good intentions is all automatically going to keep coming to you. Automatically. So be looking for my podcast. It's coming. And I would love it if you would like to be a part of the podcast. That's what I'm looking for. And I want this, I want to find a way to start interacting with you on a more personal level. And I want to get to see you. I can see so many of your handles, and now I know some of your names. So it'll be another way to bring us closer together, and Spirit's bringing that sooner than later, because it is something that I am currently working on. But had to bring this to you today, and as I said, it's the start of a conversation, and I got to give a big ups, Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Dick Gregory. I would call him a prophet of his time who remained 10 toes down till he died, but was a big part of my spiritual journey. He was the one that told me about my hair being antennas and really goes in on the inside. So I listen, he's out there on YouTube. But if you're watching my channel and you're connected, you know who Dick Gregory is. But for all you, if there's young people that Dick Gregory, check him out. His message is timeless. Timeless. And I bet you got a Dick Gregory in your family. Anyways, I am giving you your flowers, my brother. I am giving you your flowers. This is not going to be a long video. I am going to stop it. But before I go, I'm leaving you with healing, peace, love, good vibrations. And hopefully you're standing 10 toes down. Standing in your power. Knowing you got this. Looking in the mirror and embracing your beauty. Because you, baby, you a goddess. You are a goddess. That's why they try to block all of that via your hair. But what we doing? We're taking our power back. Why? Because we got the power. Hey! We got the power.